Shalom. Giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to you, hopefully elect. I'm your brother, Yahweh Call from Great Millstone, Orlando. And, hey, you can go ahead and take that M.O.T.B, that micro C hip if you want to. All right. You talk about fuck around and find out. Well, hey, Yahweh Ba'ashim Shai is an ultimate example of fucking around and finding out. All right, because I got this video here by Weon. And of course, fair use. I'm not making any monetary gain off this video. Strictly for informational purposes only. But check this out.
Our podcast, where we explore fascinating stories and ideas from various fields. In this episode, we explore how Neuralink faces challenges after the first implant. Elon Musk's Neuralink has faced a significant challenge with its first attempt to implant its chip in a human. The company revealed that its device had started detaching from the patient's brain. The patient, Noland Arbor, had the Neuralink chip surgically implanted in February, but issues cropped up shortly thereafter, reducing its functionality. The Guardian reports that the miniature computer's threads were observed to be retracting from the brain. In the weeks following the surgery, a number of threads retracted from the brain, resulting in a net decrease in the number of effective electrodes, said the company in a blog post on its website. Neuralink, as of now, has not disclosed why this happened. However, in the blog post, it reported that its engineers had refined the implant and restored functionality. In response to this change, we modified the recording algorithm to be more sensitive to neural population signals, improved the techniques to translate these signals into cursor movements, and enhanced the user interface. These refinements produced a rapid and sustained improvement in BPS that has now superseded Nolan's initial performance, it said. Despite the setback, the device continued to operate at a diminished capacity, allowing Arbor to control a computer and play chess using his thoughts alone. It did not appear to endanger Noland Arbor.
Come on, man.
Wall Street Journal, which first reported the complications, noted that the company considered removing the implant after discovering the detachment.
That's crazy.
The experimental Neuralink technology involves embedding a processor and battery in the skull, which is connected to the brain via 64 thin threads. These threads interact with neural signals, allowing the user, in this case, a quadriplegic, to manipulate digital devices like keyboards or mouse cursors. Arbor says that despite the challenges, the implant has significantly impacted his life. The link has helped me reconnect with the world, my friends, and my family. It's given me the ability to do things on my own again, without needing my family at all hours of the day and night, he said, as quoted in the Neuralink blog post. Thanks for tuning in.
And that's crazy because it mentioned the 64 threads. That immediately, of course, reminded me of Psalm 64, which the heading says, Prayer for Deliverance from the Secret Enemies. And I'm just jump to the point in verse 5. It says they encourage themselves in an evil matter. Because listen, Esau, he's going to present that C-hip in a way that's going to be convenient for everyone. Of course, he's going to present in a way where, safe, reliable, going back to that convenience. You don't have to walk around with your ID, with the possibility of your identity getting stolen or anything. That's why, hey, when it boils down to is this insertable device. All right, and all your information is going to be on that device. Who you are, your monies, everything. And when you think about it, it's just going to be totally convenient. All right, totally convenient. You don't have to go into the grocery store, going into the prophecy of Revelation 13. Where you're buying and selling. That the time of waiting in a line, because it's going to be like express. Let's say you want to go to the car wash, right? Go to the car wash, and you got to wait for everyone to pay for their ticket so they can get in one at a time. But if you got the express, if you're paying for the monthly paying, you got the express, you can just drive up and just boom, you get ahead of the line. You're ahead of the game, so to say. So it's just like, hey, when it comes to buying and selling, hey, no more waiting in long lines and crowded stores. No, you can just walk in, get what you need to walk out, and everything will be deducted from your device that's inserted inside of the body. You see, that's the convenience. Hey, listen, being that these are Babylonians, man, they're lazy. All right, they love conveniency. All right, you know. So again, Esau, he's gonna present this in a way where, hey, you know, and this is why it makes sense. John the Revelator, this is what he was seeing on the island of Patmos. People lining up to take that sea hip. People fighting to take that sea hip. You know. But hey, make no mistake about it. You know. Oh man, the precept on the tip of my tongue. It slipped though. But back at Psalm 64 and 5, they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privately. They say, who shall see them? And you see, cat is out the bag, man. All right, going into speaking specifically about the M.O.T.B. and you know, the effects, right? You know, which I'm going to touch on, that grievous sore. You know, it says, verse 6, they search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, and their heart is deep. Because you see, they're making it seem like this is something that they just recently came out with, you know, in recent years, right? Because I do believe Elon Musk has gotten the okay from the FDA. I do believe this has been FDA approved, if I'm not mistaken. So, hey, you know, in the very near future, Lord willing, all right, this is what we're gonna see, man. You know, I just saw I finished the last season of the Black Mirror. You know, where they're promoting, you know, the C hip technology. You know, more and more we're gonna see these celebrities like the Apostle has been saying, promoting the C hip. All right, the more and more phasing out of this old system, this old way of doing things, and the push for this new system, this new way of doing things. All right, you know, out with the old, in with the new. All right, and I was making the point because they've been testing this. All right, like I said, they were making it seem like they just started, you know, testing. You know, like they just came out with this technology, you know, within a couple of years. You know, a couple of years ago. No, man, they've been over the decades, man. They've been had this technology. It's just a matter of the right event. You know. But yeah, you know, take that C hip if you want to. Like you've seen this video here. That's why I always say, man, it's sinister. It goes deeper than just buying and selling. It goes deeper than that. It's real sinister. All right, because to me, what it sounds like is an upgrade, you know, which they made a movie about that shit, you know. They also made another movie called The Implanted. Right, well, basically, which again, it reminds me of the Psalm 64. You can read the whole chapter; it's good. But Psalm 64, you know, the leads going into how can we come out to the poor? How can we get the poor? Basically, talk about Israelites. All right. But when you watch that movie Implanted, it was basically about the poor. You know, literal poor people or poor people. All right, people, you know, struggling to make ends meet and things of that nature. You know, homeless and things of that nature. You know, getting this incentive to take the C hip, and the movie is based off of this one chick. The movie is based off of this one chick. She took the implant. All right, things were of course going good for a while. Then after a while, hey, you know, the sinisterness of, or basically the consequence of her action came back to you know, bite her in the ass. Because hey, that you know, that C hip, man, you know, she started hearing voices, you know, telling her to do certain things, you know, commit assassinations. You know, she was trying to get the shit out. You know, she, you know, the shit is crazy. If you haven't seen that movie Implanted, that's definitely a must watch. All right, but basically the C hip turned against her. All right, you know, she was hearing voices and shit. You know, but again, going back into the sinisterness of that C hip. You know, you take that C hip, man. you know, I won't be surprised when that time comes, you know, people taking that C hip, man, because, you know, people are gonna be bugging out. You know, people are gonna be bugging out. You know, those demons are gonna take over. All right. You know, people are gonna be doing things against their will. Just all type of madness, man. You know, all type of sinister things are gonna be taking place when people take that C hip. It's just a matter of time. Hell, some people might get it right away. You know, some people might be affected right away. You know, but hey, because it's only going to be a matter of time before the effects show. All right, because you take that C hip, man. Hey, you know, like with anything that you put inside the body that's foreign, naturally it's going to reject it. All right, that's just how the body is designed. All right, you know, and the whole thing with going back to the jabs over the past few years, right? You know, basically those jabs, man, it for the most part, man, shut a lot of people's immune system off. So a lot of people are walking around here, you know, just vulnerable. You know, no immune system. With your immune system, that's your the body's defense system. So once that goes, you're done. You know, anything such as a cold can take you out. You're back in the spiritual realm. So that's what those jabs, going back to those jabs, man, it shut a lot of people's immune system off. You know, but either way, your body's going to reject something that's foreign. And this is why when people start taking that C hip, man, eventually the effects are going to show. Right? So Revelation 14 and verse 6, I'm sorry, Revelation 14 and 9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the image and his Salakia, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in the forehead or in his hand. And now there's a science to why, you know, specifically, you know, for the most part, things are done when it comes to the C hip, you know, for the most part. You know, you take the C hip in your head, all right, your brain, or in your hand. You know, there's a scientific reason behind it, you know, but if you take it anywhere in your body, all right, you're done, because it tells you in Revelation 13, those that receive the mark in their right hand or in their forehead, right? But here it says, it just said if you take the mark in his forehead or in his hand. Why didn't it mention the right hand? You know? So, you know, with that being said, it don't matter where you take it, all right? But nevertheless, if you do take it, it says, verse 10, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. You see, so you take that C hip, it don't even matter if you take it out. Somehow you manage to take it out, because somehow they're gonna, how I see it, because that shit is gonna get, like, what do you call it, ingrained into you know, who you are. You know, just you know, again, just speaking as a man, just speculating, you know, because that shit could be like attached to your DNA cells, you know, some shit like that, man, to the point where you try to get it out, man. Hey, that's gonna be a real it's gonna be like literally taking a piece out of you, out of yourself, you know, out of your body, you know. So even with that being said, even if you somehow manage to you know, get it out, you know, nevertheless, you're still gonna get you're gonna drink the full cup of the Lord's wrath, all right? And that full cup is without mercy. The Lord ain't gonna show you. Once you take that C hip, even if you manage to get it out, you're done. You know, you're finished. All right. But even before that, going into those sores, that grievous sore, right? You know, because hey, the body's going to, you know, the body's going to reject it. Like I said, naturally, that's what the body does. It rejects anything that's foreign. You know. So being that, of course, that C-hip technology being inside of the body, naturally the body's not going to recognize it. And what's going to take place? cancerous sores, going into this here in Revelation 16. And starting at 1. And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of God upon the earth. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. So you see, all right, going into that noisome and grievous sore. You know, now however it plays out, you know, again, just speculating, because it could be different for everyone, I would assume. You know, but you know, like I said, it's going to show forth one way or the other, in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Some people are going to take it on the down low. You know, you had that one elder from the main camp a couple of years ago going to his dream that he had about a brother in GMS taking it. You know, he didn't want to put the brother out there, but a brother in GMS taking it, and you know, hey, it was basically known. You know, it was basically shown that he you know, he took the shit. And that's some scared shit. You know, but one way or the other is going to show that you took that shit. You know, the Apostle Paul often talks about the cancer, you know, because you know, and it makes sense because of the radiation that's going to be, you know, coming off that sea, man. You know, the radiation, the damage that's going to be done from the radiation, you know, down in the self. But you know, it could play out a number of ways. How your body reacts, how you know, how the body, you know, how it shows, you know, for those that take the CHIP. It can, you know, it can vary, you know, because again, that CHIP is something that's, you know, it's foreign to the body. So naturally the body's going to reject it. People will be getting sick, catching all type of shit, man, you know, dealing with all type of physical ailments. It's going to show. It's going to be made known. But yeah, man, hey, again, take that CHIP if you want to. You know, fuck around and find out. The Lord wanted this was edifying, giving all praises to Yahweh Shem El Shai. Shalom to you, hopefully, like.